What if I told you there's a railway line that operates every night at exactly 3:33 a.m., carrying passengers who bought their tickets decades ago but never got off? Tonight, we're diving into the most disturbing urban legend from rural Nebraska, a story so twisted that local authorities refuse to acknowledge its existence. The Midnight Express doesn't just transport the living, it collects those who are meant to join the eternal journey. But here's the terrifying part. Once you see this train, you become part of its manifest. Are you ready to discover why entire families have vanished after hearing that distant whistle in the dead of night? Deep in the Nebraska countryside, where cornfields stretch endlessly under starless skies, lies an abandoned railway station that locals call the final stop. Built in 1892, this forgotten depot hasn't seen official service since 1954, when the last passenger train departed. Or so the records claim. But Margaret Thornfield knows better. She's lived in the nearby farmhouse for 43 years, and every night at 3:33 a.m. she hears it. The distant rumble of steel wheels on rusty tracks, growing closer with each passing second. Tonight feels different though. Tonight the whistle sounds longer, more desperate, as if calling her name through the October mist. Margaret's arthritic fingers trace the faded photograph on her nightstand. Her husband Edmund, who disappeared 7 years ago after claiming he heard voices from the old railway. The locals say Edmund lost his mind wandering into the cornfields, never to return. But Margaret knows the truth. She's seen the passenger manifest, yellowed with age, hidden in the station's abandoned ticket booth. Edmund's name is there, written in elegant script, along with hundreds of others who supposedly moved away or died in accidents. As the train's headlight pierces through her bedroom window, Margaret realizes something horrifying. Tonight, the train isn't just passing through. Tonight, it's stopping. The screech of brakes echoes across the empty fields, and she can hear them, the passengers. They're singing an old hymn she recognizes from childhood, their voices hollow and distant, as if coming from underwater. Margaret approaches her window with trembling steps. Through the glass, she sees the most beautiful and terrifying sight of her life. A pristine 1940s passenger train gleaming under the pale moonlight. But the passengers, dear God, the passengers are all sitting perfectly upright, their heads tilted at unnatural angles, their eyes reflecting the train's interior lights like dead fish. And there, in car 3, seat 14, sits Edmund. He's wearing the same flannel shirt from the night he disappeared, but his face carries the expression of someone who's been screaming for 7 years straight, though his mouth remains frozen in a gentle smile. The conductor, a tall figure, in a pristine uniform, steps onto the platform. His face is obscured by shadow, but Margaret can see his clipboard and her own name written at the very top. Margaret's hands shake as she watches the conductor approach her front door. Each footstep on her wooden porch sounds like a coffin, nail being hammered into place. But it's not fear that paralyzes her, it's recognition. She knows that walk, that particular way of favoring the left leg. It's her father. Thomas Whitmore died 34 years ago in a car accident. Or did he? As the figure removes his conductor's cap, Margaret sees the same weathered face she remembered from childhood, unchanged by time or death. His eyes hold the weight of decades, and when he speaks, his voice carries the echo of 1,000 departed souls. Evening ticket, Margaret. Your departure time is 3:33 a.m. Please gather only what you need for the journey. Through her window, she can see more passengers boarding the train. Mrs. Henderson from the old grocery store, who died of pneumonia in 1987. Young Billy Martinez, who supposedly drowned in the lake 15 years ago. They move with mechanical precision, their feet never quite touching the ground, carrying suitcases that seem to be filled with nothing but whispers. Margaret understands now why Edmund looked so peaceful yet terrified. The train doesn't kill its passengers. It preserves them in the moment of their deepest regret, their most profound sorrow. They're not dead. They're suspended in an eternal state of almost leaving, forever traveling to a destination that doesn't exist. "I'm not ready," Margaret whispers, though she's already reaching for her coat. The compulsion is overwhelming, like gravity pulling her toward the platform. Her father's smile never wavers. "Nobody ever is, sweetheart. But the schedule must be maintained. We've been waiting for you to complete our family car." As Margaret steps outside, she realizes the most horrifying truth of all. She's not the first Whitmore to board this train. Her mother, her grandparents, her uncle who moved to California in 1963. They're all there, sitting in perfect rows, their eyes following her movement with desperate love and bottomless sorrow. The train car designated for the Whitmore family has been waiting for her since birth. Her seat, number 7, right beside Edmund, bears a small brass nameplate that reads, "Margaret Whitmore Thornfield, reserved since October 13th, 1952, her birthday." As the train begins to move, Margaret takes her place among her loved ones. Through the window, she sees her empty farmhouse growing smaller, and in the distance, a young family moving into the old Peterson place. The train's whistle blows once more, and Margaret knows with absolute certainty that in exactly 43 years, one of those children will hear this same sound and understand that some journeys never truly end. The conductor punches her ticket with a hole shaped like an hourglass, and Margaret feels her last earthly concern drift away like morning mist. The Midnight Express rolls on through eternity, collecting passengers who forgot to say goodbye, carrying them forever toward a tomorrow that will never come. If this story left you questioning every train whistle you've ever heard in the night, smash that like button to join our community of horror enthusiasts. Subscribe and ring that notification bell, because we're diving deeper into the most disturbing urban legends that authorities don't want you to know about. Share this video with someone brave enough to hear the truth about what really happens when people simply disappear. And tell me in the comments, have you ever heard unexplained sounds at 3:33 a.m.? You might want to check your local railway history. Some tickets are issued before you're even born.